In my opinion, one of the things that makes a black woman beautiful is, I feel, just us being black. I mean, I feel like, not to discount other racial backgrounds or other ethnic groups, but I feel like with black women, we kind of come in all different looks. Like, we have so many different facets of who we are just from a physical perspective. We are brown, we're light, we're pale, we have freckles, we have long hair, we have short hair, we have coil hair, we have curly hair. There's so many different things that it takes to be a black woman, that I feel is beautiful. I also feel like, just from the black woman I know, I'm only speaking because I am a black woman. I feel like with being a black woman, I think there comes a certain level of strength that comes along with us. I feel like we've had to come overcome so many different adversities, just on so many different levels, that I think that we have a sense of pride and like a sense of dignity, and most times, not all the time, that comes along with being black. But I also think that too, uh, black is just beautiful. Like, there's so many different things that make a beautiful black woman. So yeah. So like, in terms of the media and like socially, how people perceive black people or black women in general, I feel like it's kind of a mix. I think there's some negative views of us, but I also feel like there's positive views of us as well. So like, I know that, like, for me personally, I see that sometimes I feel like black women are kind of left out there. Like, for instance, like, even just on television shows. I know that I've read on Twitter a few days ago how someone was saying that black women were only seen negatively in on pop culture. Like, we have a Scandal where Kerry Washington's character is technically a jump off, but she's kind of like not a jump off. It depends on how you really think about it. She's kind of a jump off in the sense that she's like dating a married man, or she has emotional attachment to a married man, but it's not necessarily like she's being cheated on or that he's cheating with her, because his wife knows the situation and she knows that there's not love. So it's kind of like he's in the relationship, in a marriage, to be the president and to show that he's, I guess, in a unit, but it's not necessarily like he's in the unit. So technically, she's not really a jump off. It just technically is a jump off because he's a married man and she's his mistress, but she's really not his mistress because it's really not in secret. But anyway, I completely digress. That was not my point. But I on Twitter they were saying how that's an example of a black woman in the media, and then we have like Gabrielle Union's character on Being Mary Jane when she's having an affair with a married man. Then we have like Girlfriends where Lynn was like sexually fluid. Don't get me started on Girlfriends because that's not really a good example. I was very mad when I saw that, but it's what it is, what it is. But so yeah, so like, people always say that we have these negative roles for women of color in TV, but then you can look and see that, yeah, these are kind of negative roles, but these are like high power women. So I feel like it's kind of like a mix of a negative and a positive, because like with Girlfriends, you had Joan, who was a lawyer. Then you had Tony, even though she was a gold digger in some lights. I don't know if I agree, but don't think I'm a gold digger because that's not what I was saying. But she technically was a real estate agent. Kerry Washington's character on Scandal, she is a fixer. I feel like we are kind of coming up in the sense that you do have like these strong female influences on pop culture. Also, I feel like too, a lot of times people kind of act as if black women have attitudes. I know that I've even read books where it's kind of talking about how we have an attitude problem and how we're kind of rude to people and how we have a chip on our shoulder. I don't think that's true, and I really don't like that perception of us. I mean, realistically, you can kind of categorize anyone or group anyone in any racial background based on these negative interactions that you had with a person, but you don't speak for thousands of people or even billions of people because you're one factor or you're one small morsel in the bigger scheme of the whole racial background or a whole racial group. So we don't have chips on our shoulder. We're not mean. Some of us are mean, but so are some white women too. We don't all have baggage. Some black women have baggage only because a man that they're dealing with had baggage as well. You have to look at the circumstances. So I don't necessarily agree with that. But I do think also, too, there's a lot of positive that I see with black women. Like you can look at examples like Queen Latifah, who has her television show, Oprah, who's like one of the billionaires of the world. We're coming up. Like it's not necessarily even that we're coming up, but we're kind of just staying here. But we are kind of like making names for ourselves, which I really, really do like and appreciate. That's probably one of the biggest things that I want to stay around is just this role of kicking ass that we do.